And overall, I would suggest he wins more matches than he loses over the last year or two.
Yeah, Earl doing a little doctoring, and you never know with Earl what it's going to be as far as, additives to the pool game, a little more than your normal player. It'll be a big crowd over there, though, and you got to expect this match to stay pretty close before someone maybe stretches away.
Earl Strickland is someone we talk about a lot at the US Open, aside from his own participation or otherwise in it, because we always refer to him in the context of Shane Van Bonen's quest to win this for a 6th time. Currently shares the record on 5 with Strickland. Ralf Souquet, one-time US Open champion, will start us off.
Oh, nice opener there, and we'll see. I think there is a cross-side bank on the 3 that does go a 9-ball near the 3, which will pique a little interest of Ralph's, but I think if the bank goes, that's what you're going to see him play. Now, I heard at the last event in Connecticut that Ralf was playing with some new equipment. Ralf, one that probably hasn't changed much in many years. Found the gap between the 6 and 7 going to the rails. Excuse me. Could pull this around the 8 a couple rails, but most likely just one rail down the middle of the table.
Like Strickland, Ralf Souquet found it hard enough to shake off his opponent in the early stages of his match earlier today, but finished strongly to beat Paul Song 9-5.
Yeah, and, on the American side of things, I think we always talked about Buddy Hall with the best cue ball and the patterns through the rack. I think when it comes to Europe, I think Ralf Souquet's that Buddy Hall on the European side, and just super efficient in all kinds of ways. It looks like pretty comfortable because he's getting on with it. I mean, not saying Ralf had a super tough layout past that bank, but I like that rhythm around the table. Little light of ideal here, so just a little 9-ball he's got to pay attention to.
Couple of balls down off the break paved the way for a break and run. Ralf Souquet leads Earl Strickland 1-0. So this is in the 2nd round. Still quite a bit of action to be resolved in round 1. Albin Ocean, former world champion, 4-1 up against Petri Tamminen of Finland. BJ Ussuri, a player who plays a lot of tournaments in America and has done so well in them that he's forced his way right into the Mosconi Cup reckoning, leading Harshit Kedia 7-3. Alex Pagulayan has just let's come up as a 9-3 win against Jay Aliamer of the US. I think that one's just finished. Anyway, either way, Pagulayan is through. Roberto Gomez leading Paul Corrigan 5-0. Mario He 4-3 down to Ruben Flores. John Morra trailing 6-2 against Do Tae Kien. And Oliver Sholnocki going well at 6-1 against Jovan Bustamante. So they're all in round 1. In round 2. Chang Young Lin is 3-0 up on American Kevin West. Niels Fyan, former world champion. And indeed, the only player to have won more Mosconi Cup MVPs than Earl Strickland, has taken the first rack against Ioannis Charlaftis of Greece. That's on table 2. On day 2 of this US Open.
Yeah, Niels Fyan, of course, still very competitive, getting that game back more and more. And this is the one title, of course, that is kind of the only one he's really missing overall on the 9-ball side of things. And I'll tell you, he's another one. Of course, he's in that shape, and his game's, forming really nicely. But just like a Ralf or like a Earl, like I talked about earlier, if the adrenaline gets going, staying in there late, which Niels has done some of that this year, and really has lost some really close matches when it comes to the final 16 and the final 8 and some of these major events.
Yeah, good runs in both the World Championship and the World Masters this year, and was absolutely heartbroken on both occasions not to take that step further. One rack away from the final at the World Masters in Brentwood in May.
It doesn't appear anything offensive, especially a big stretch. Probably wants to come off the right side of the 2. He can reach that a little easier as well, trying to bring the cue ball maybe a couple rails between the 6 and the 7. Now, normally when you're stretched, that's the way I thought he would try to get at it, but you don't quite put as much on the ball naturally, so it's the time he may put a little more into the stroke. Okay, you could try to hold the 2, hitting it thinly. I think the 2 will come up, actually. He's going to really just try and get the snooker going right into the 7. So our first look at Earl Strickland. The 7-8 did tie up, so he's got a lot of work here.
62 years of age, and it will be 40 years next year since he first won this US Open. 1984, 87, 93, 97, and then 2000. And he won it for the 5th and final time. Shane Van Boening, 16 years later, tied that record. Remarkable to think. Between them, they've been in 10 US Open finals and won them all.
Earl, like Siegel, and of course Shane, once they get in that final, very, very hard to beat. They rarely suffer a loss. I think Filler's a lot that same way. It takes something special, it seems like, to beat him in the final. I think if you look around at other players like that, and maybe not quite as many wins, but I think Carlo's like that a lot. If he gets to that final, he's going to be super hard to beat. Okay, I don't really think he can get the angle to break those balls out. And it's close right there. He may just set up for the cross side bank. He's overrun this a little for the bank, so it'll be a safety. Earl with a little equipment change too. Last time we saw him, he was still playing with a wood shaft.
Well, we saw him at the Premier League earlier in the year. He finished 15th in a field of 16 there. We saw him play a lot of matches over the course of a few days, and at times he was playing some great shots and you could see a little bit of the old magic there, but a number of times he would just throw in an unexpected miss. And that's just rust, isn't it? Just not playing many tournaments in recent years.
Yeah, and I think we saw it a little bit at the Mosconi last year. He was very disciplined, and then once he started to knock some balls in, he kind of got a little speedier around the table, and I just don't think that's something he can do much of anymore. He's got to take a little more time, feel a little more precise. All right, going for this. All right, the the 7-8 combination definitely playable. Now, when they're close together, you'll get a lot more movement on the 7 after he makes this combination than you would expect. So is he going to play a little double kiss here, or see how the 7 came out? And that's what my worry was. Was he really going to produce another shot? And just the way Earl's demeanor, and knowing him pretty well, it looks like maybe a little hangover from his first match. Like maybe he made some big mistakes to let the match be a little closer than it actually was. That's the feeling I'm getting without actually watching the match. He's going for the kiss shot here. This is very missable. And he's going to play the safety.
Yeah, you mentioned the Mosconi there. Earl Strickland played in it last year, making his return after 9 years. Actually teamed up with Van Boning to beat Jason Shaw and David O'Cady in the first match of the penultimate night, as the US led for the last time, as it turned out, at 5-4. But apart from the win in the opening team match, he lost all 4 of his other matches, 2 singles and 2 doubles. He was, of course, supposed to play the year before you had brought him into the team, and I think it was that he'd been a close contact of someone with COVID on the flight over and had to stay in his room for the week.
That's right. Yeah, he was, of course, by his own choice, and nothing wrong with it. He didn't have the vaccine. So at that point, if you had not had the vaccine, you were subject to trace, and then you had to confine yourself, and that's exactly what happened. I think the same thing happened last year, like I was talking about the Mosconi. He was really disciplined on some things we had talked about, really taking his time, kind of slowed the stroke down, and he got some great leads in a lot of those matches, and then kind of got in that little more free roll, I thought, kind of mentality, kind of feeling good, which is a great thing, but you sometimes have to check yourself, and what a shot there from Ralf Souquet.
Yeah, that's going to leave him feeling good, isn't it? And should be 2-0. And that's ideal. It is. When you first mooted to Strickland, Jeremy, the idea of playing in 2021, the one he ultimately ended up pulling out of, was he surprised at the idea? Did he feel his time had gone in terms of the Mosconi?
I don't think he was that surprised. I think early in the year, maybe so, but he really showed a lot of class in 2 or 3 events towards the fall and later into the summer. So I don't think when we started to talk about the possibility of that he was too shocked. You know, he was kind of like, yeah, I feel pretty good. I'm hitting the ball pretty well. You know, kind of like, you saw that, didn't you? You know, kind of thing. And I said, yeah. And he did a lot of what I thought he would do that maybe some of the other Americans at the time couldn't, and that was beat him to the shot, you know some of the things to do out there in the Mosconi, and just didn't finish some of the racks is all.
I loved hitting you with some of these trivia questions at the World Cup, Jeremy. Here's one for you.
Oh, boy.
So Ralf Souquet there has played in 17 Mosconi Cups, most of any European, tied for the record overall with Johnny Archer, and Shane Van Boning will reach 17 later this year as well. Now, outside of Britain, so on continental Europe, let's say, Germany has produced more Mosconi Cup players than any other country. 6. So can you name them?
Oh, Lord. Okay, so Ralph, of course, Filler, that's 2. Oliver Ortman.
Yeah, he's played 8 times.
3. Thomas Engert.
Yep.
That's 4. Man, I'm missing a big name. I know.
You're missing a really big name.
Let's see. I said Filler, Souquet, Ortman, Engert. Oh, the big name is the one that I'm going to forget. Let's see. Give me 2 seconds on that one.
Yeah, listen, you got the whole match for this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm stealing them.
Okay.
I just got to, relax, just like a pool game. All right, big shot here. Open table. Gets this one down. You got to figure he's going to clear it with a 3-0 lead. It looks huge.
Yeah, so 17 Mosconi Cup appearances. 7 times he's been on the winning team. That's just one short of the most for any European player. Niels Feijen, who's in action over on table 2 at the moment, has been on the winning team 8 times. The overall record for most times on the winning team is shared by Strickland and Johnny Archer. They've both had 9 Mosconi wins. Told you we'd be talking big numbers during this match.
And Ralf looks very settled. Of course, you make a couple big shots like in the last rack. That'll help things out. And he's really broke the balls very well to start the match. Oh, Thorsten Homan. Yeah, that's one of them.
The other one now.
I was going through U.S. Open champions and World 9-ball champions. That's kind of what I was going through. I was like, okay.
Well, of course, he was world champion the year you won this.
Yeah. And actually, I made the winning point against Thorsten in 2005 in a hill match with me and him.
The other one is by far the hardest.
By far, huh?
Yeah.
Does he still play anymore? Ish?
Well, I can't actually answer that question, and that's a clue in itself.
Oh, my goodness.
We're getting very deep now, aren't we?
Yeah, you can't answer that question. That's a clue. Okay.
Anyway, Earl Strickland might find it hard to come up with an answer to this. Ralf Souquet is looking very good at the start of this match. A couple of breaking runs already. He's raced into a 3-0 lead. Albin Ocean is leading Petri Tamanen 5-1 in a first round match. That's the round prior to this. Mario He has turned it round to lead Ruben Flores now by 5 racks to 4. John Mora has closed to 6-3 down now against Do Tae Kien. Matt Kra of the US just ahead of Finland's Jani Uski at 4-3, and Oliver Shalnocki 6-1 up against Jovan Bustamante. So they're all in round 1. In round 2, Chang Yong-lin now leading Kevin West 5-0. Niels Feijen with a 2-1 lead over Jonas Charlaftis. That one is going on over on table 2. You must have been delighted, by the way, to see Billy Thorpe turn around his match earlier today.
Absolutely, yeah.
Got his injury problems. We weren't sure he'd even play. He was going around the venue on a mobility scooter yesterday. Goes out today and pulls off a great recovery.
Yeah, I was keeping a track of the score, of course, getting a little bite to eat between the matches. And, it's weird. I love watching the players, but if they're behind and they're starting to make a comeback, it's almost like I feel a little jinxy going over there to watch the comeback. So didn't want to add any extra pressure. And very happy to see him pull that off. Oh, a little double kiss in the 9.
Well, we talked about how hard it was going to be for Earl Strickland to get into this match, even more so now. Ralf Souquet's wonderful start continues. There's the golden break again, made the 1 in the side. And then the 9, getting absolutely smacked in the face by the 5. And it hasn't taken long at all for Ralf Souquet to find himself almost halfway to victory already.
Yeah, with a very limited time at the table for Earl, that ball in hand on the 7-8, about it.
I don't think you're going to get this last German player.
Okay, give it to me.
So you said, is he still playing? And I said, I can't answer that question.
Yeah.
Reason being, it isn't a he.
Oh, it's a...
Yeah. So the first ever Mosconi in '94.
Yeah, there were lady players.
There were lady players there.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 on each team.
Okay, so was it
Franziska Stark played.
She was a snooker player then?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, Franziska Stark. I know who she is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in a long time, though. So, was it, I think Vivian Villarreal and
played.
Jeanette, was it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Alison played.
Alison played. Yeah. No, Stark wasn't a snooker player. I mean, maybe at one point, but I knew her as a 9-ball player. And here you go, Earl. Maybe partially hooked, but something he will attack at, whether it be a swerve or a jump, or if he can get right at it. And it looks like it's open to me.
Yeah, I know Franziska Stark was primarily a pool player, but I think there may have been snooker in there along the way. Anyway, we have our 6 now.
And I think you would have been shocked if I got that.
I just like the fact that you really engage. I wouldn't bother asking these questions to Carl. He'd probably just throw his eyes to heaven and ignore me.
Talking about the table a little bit. And yesterday I saw a few little things, but that was day one, and they settle. The players know that. And of course, everything the tournament direction team does is certainly get the tables. They check them daily.
Well, I'm used to seeing Earl having chats with all sorts of people during matches, opponents, officials, members of the crowd, but that one looked reasonably cheery.
Yeah, I know that Earl really respects Ralph. He always has, and he's always brought up his names and, you know, kind of easy manners. And stroke looks pretty good, though. Oh, my. As soon as I say something again. But that's kind of what I mean about the other day, or what I said earlier about last year. Like right there, he could have kind of held the ball, you know, taking a little more shot on the 8, but it's kind of like, you know, he wants to feel that, be able to really unleash the stroke a little bit. And it's just, not saying it's incorrect, but it's just something you got to judge a little bit. Do I really need to do that? It pulls a lot more about what's necessary more than what you want to do.
Yeah, and I was saying earlier at the Premier League, we saw things like that happen so many times where it looked like he was just starting to threaten a little bit of momentum, and then he'd throw in a miss like that. Such a contrast between the two, isn't it? We saw the emotion there from Strickland banging his cue on the table. Souquet just so calm and measured all the time. And he has calmly strolled into a 5-0 lead. So day 2 of the US Open. Action going on at the moment in both of the first 2 rounds. And down to the last few matches of the first round. Blaine Barkas leading Gary Serrano 5-3 in the All-American clash. Mario He now 6-4 up on Ruben Flores, having trailed earlier. Oliver Szolnocki has extended his lead over Jovan Bustamante to 7-1. And in round 2, Wu Kunlin has lost the first rack to American Raymond Linares. Nicolas de Leon has won the first against Badr Al-Awadi.
Yeah, both those Americans you just mentioned, Nick De Leon and Raymond Linares, really, really good players that have already been improving in my mind. And I wouldn't be surprised if they beat any player in the tournament, really. I mean, a little surprised, but it wouldn't be a total shocker. And John Moore, I think, was down 5 or 6-0, I think, against Guillen. Now back at 6-3, so showing some heart. All right, the black 8 down on the break. Obviously a push-out situation, and I'll tell you what, I think he has a little bit of room to push out right now. And what I mean by that is mentally with Earl. You know, I think if it's just like something Earl doesn't like that much, he'll give it back pretty easily or quickly. So I don't, you know, normally at this level, you're rolling out as tough as you can, you know, whether that be a decision on your opponent, the shot itself, or if they give it back, it's also equally difficult for yourself shooting the shot. But I think here right now, after that little miss in the last rack, Earl may easily give this back. Like right here, he didn't even go look from behind the cue ball, right?
2002 was Ralf Souquet's US Open winning year. Beat Alex Pagulayan, who was then representing the Philippines, in a close final, 13-11. Got to the final again 7 years later, faced the defending champion Mika Immonen. Lost out on that occasion. Prior to all of that was world champion all the way back in 1996 in Sweden. Easy winner in the final against Tom Storm of the host country.
He's trying to see if he can get through at this to bank the 1 down below the 2 and the green 6, I think. The US Open just seems like even more so than the World 9-Ball Championships, but it's a hard event to win for so many reasons. There's always like 1 or 2 kind of unsung players that you don't expect that are doing amazing things, and then all the greats that are trying to get this coveted title. Yeah, Earl complaining about the 4, but on the push out, Ralf intentionally tied up the 4 and 9 for a little protection. And it looks like Earl can just kind of stop his ball there and come off the 3 and go into that 4-9 to open. Of course, the 4 does go in the side by the purple 5, so position is possible.
I've never done commentary alongside Earl Strickland yet, but if I did, I could probably just put the microphone down and go off for a cup of coffee, because he just never stops talking for a moment, during matches, between matches.
Yeah, have you ever got a chance to listen to his commentary? It's pretty good. I mean, very informative. I like it. Teaches you a lot. And stays on point, you know what I mean? It doesn't get too sideways about this happening or that happening, a story from a long time ago. Really nice effort there. Is that going to have too much speed?
We talked about him being now the joint holder of the record for most US Opens. He's still the sole holder of the record for World Championship wins, 3 times in total. Albin Ocean was a match away from equaling that record in Milton Keynes last year, but Shane Van Boening put paid to that. And remarkably, given that the World Championship has been going for almost 3.5 decades now, he's still the only player ever to successfully defend that title. And he successfully got himself off the mark here. And Strickland takes rack number 6. Ralf Souquet's lead is now 5-1. So let's see what's going on in the other matches there. Albin Ocean, who I just mentioned, almost matched Strickland's record of 3 world titles last year. He's now leading 5-2 over Petri Tamanen in round 1. Mario He really turning it round now, was behind against Ruben Flores, but now leading 7-4. John Mora has fallen 7-3 down now against Dote Kien. And Oliver Szolnocki on the hill at 8-1 against Jovan Bustamante. So they're all in the first round. This is in round 2. Niels Fyen yet to win the US Open, leading 3-1 against Jonas Charlaftis. He's having a good year, Fyen. You look at his results, you'll see that. But I actually think they don't really show quite how good a year it's been for him, because as we were saying earlier, it's been very close to making further progress in some of the big tournaments. So, our first look in this match at the break of Earl Strickland.
And Earl kind of struggles with this break a bit at times, and the reason why is he understands you got to cut him, but he still kind of hits him like a head-on break, and you get a lot of variety on the 1 when you play it like that. It's really more of that draw stroke. Okay, again, a lot of work here, but the first shot really sets things up. If he gets on the blue 2 in a nice manner, should be easy to get on the 3. 4's up table, but the 5's on the side rail, which will lead to the 6. So just a couple rails, a little past the 7, most likely, the cue ball. Oh, that should do. Yeah. I'm going to say what you're talking about with Niels. We don't see the score lines a lot of times. You know, you just see the wins and losses, and he really hasn't played a poor match the entire year that I've seen. Okay, a little thin here, so he's got to slowly draw this one rail across if he wants to go past the side.
We were talking a few minutes ago about all his achievements from long ago. But even in 2023, he's still been getting plenty of good results. Last 32 of both the UK and European Opens. Also reached the single elimination stage of the Spanish Open. There was a smaller ranking event early in the summer, the Scottish Open. Decent strength field, and he got to the semis there. All of this at the age of 54.
Yeah, and, you know, Ralf keeping his game, but the thing is that all the other players are catching up. There's so many more great players. So, you know, even Filler, we talked about yesterday at the start of the show, I think it was, that, you know, he comes off as the favorite usually in all these tournaments, but still, it's still difficult to win. Can't say he's slumping or having problems. It's just how the game is and how the players have gotten so good.
Well, we had a bracket of players, didn't we? Filler, Van Bonen, Ocean. These were the guys winning all the tournaments there for a year or two. But look at this year. Dang Jinhu, David O'Cady getting back in the big-time winner's circle. Eklund Kachi making a real breakthrough. Winning a big Matchroom event for the first time.
Yeah, not only that, but just look at that Final 4 and Final 8. You know, the mix-up, or the mix we've had as far as players are concerned. It's been great.
Yeah, we've seen guys like Beisterbosch, Sufi, Raga, all getting to big finals. Not guys we would have necessarily expected at the start of the year would do things like that.
Yeah, and even ones we expect to that just haven't yet. You know, Skyler getting to a couple semifinals. Beatrice Labutis looked like he was going to get to that final there in Spain. And, it's just been an incredible year with a lot of flavor. It looks like he's just going to settle for the 9 on the side, holding the cue ball.
So Strickland had the break in this rack for the first time in the match, but wasn't able to do anything with it. And so the gap of 5 is immediately restored by Ralf Souquet at 6-1. There's Fine, now 4-1 up on Jonas Charlaftis. Also in this second round. Chang Yung Lin now 5-2 ahead of Kevin West. Badr Alawadi and Nicolas de Leon level at 1-1. Wu Kun Lin now 2-1 up on Raymond Linares. So they're all in round 2. Jovan Bustamante has extended things for at least a little longer against Oliver Szolnocki. The man from Hungary leading 8-2. And Janioski is edged ahead of Matt Kra at 5-4. Mario He, well, it's a totally different match now after his early struggles. He's one away from victory over Ruben Flores at 8-4. Now, what match is this?
Badr Alawadi and Nicolas de Leon.
Yeah, one we were just referring to.
I'll tell you, Badr is a very, very difficult player. Once he gets a little confidence early in a match, he can just about play as well as anyone.
You know, you go to a big golf tournament and you've got great players all around the place, but it can take you 15 minutes to walk between groups. You come to an event like this, you stand in the right spot in the room, you can see about 10 greats of the game all at once.
Yeah, I was thinking about day one and yesterday and not looking at it like day one. I was just thinking, you know, first day of the tournament, you know, we'll see all these great players. And then I was thinking about this morning walking in. I'm like, we have another wave coming. And lots that we haven't even talked about. And so many fighting for their first U.S. Open title. You know, think about Alvin Ocean and so many others.
Yeah, not been a great year for Ocean, has it, given his standards and how consistent he was last year, doing well in so many big events. He's in action at the moment, 6-2. He leads Petri Tamminen.
Okay, it looks like he can get at this 2 to float behind the pink, as long as he doesn't have to swerve the ball much. Looks very natural, come across it pretty thick. Let the spin take. You've got the 6 there as well. So Earl's going to have to kick. Not the best way to kick at the ball to get some results. Should hit it easily, but going to need a little fortune to come away safe, and maybe the 7's going to help him. Close. Okay. I believe he's got to be a little snookered here. Maybe not fully. The thing is, I think maybe he can bank the 2 between the 5 and 3 up the table. He's got to put a little left English to avoid the kiss on the cue ball with the blue 2. A double kiss. Yeah, he's going to swerve it. Maybe going for this one.
Not coming off, and a chance there for Strickland, but going to be hard to keep the cue ball under control and potting this 2.
Yeah, very difficult. Kill the cue ball. I think this is a bit extreme on the cut as well.
You don't think it's makeable?
I think it's makeable, but like you said, the cue ball is going to be having a lot of speed and very hard to control. I think that was the prudent play, really.
What was it like when he was around the team and the younger players with the Mosconi last year? How do they view him? Do they look on him as a bit of a trailblazer for the game and a legend who they're glad to be around and learn from?
Yeah, I mean, looking forward to the Cup, all the players were excited, and they kept each other pumped, and Earl responded to those guys, very well. And you know how it is, though, when the actual match gets going and whatnot, you can easily kind of lose your perspective a little bit. But overall, yeah, he was great. The year before, it was really pumped up to play with Earl, and that was very crushing that he couldn't play there at Ali Pali. But overall, I think the players, even though we suffered a loss, they appreciate that time. Nice safety here. Cut off a lot of angles as far as the kicks. I think if he does hit this, he'll hit right before top English. I don't like his chances. You got to hit more center ball here. Yeah, it's always going to spread with the top English, that kind of angle. And we'll see how Earl plays this. A little bit of a funny positional play here. A little shocked he's going multiple rails. Is he going to draw this between the 7-8 off 2 cushions? Could land. Oh, he's missed ball in hand. But that's kind of what I was talking about as far as like it gets a little slappy with it, And if you watched the Mosconi last year, the shots that he made a lot of nice ones. They're real clean with the stroke, and the ones he missed were very similar to that. And obviously he didn't hit it how he wanted, but you could see the position on the 3. Maybe he got a little position, but it wasn't by design. And Ralph's got to add a little inside spin to this, maybe. And he's going to catch the point and come clean, it looks like.
Just so impressive in the year that he turns 55 that he still has the enthusiasm and desire to keep preparing for tournaments and coming to play in them and do all the travel. A guy who was winning the World Championship best part of 30 years ago. It's admirable in itself to still want to go on and add to your achievements, and make no mistake, he still feels that he can be a contender to win another big tournament.
I agree. I mean, said earlier, you know, he gets to making a little bit of a deep run. It's going to get tougher, of course. Every opponent, world champion, it seems like. But like I said earlier, that adrenaline gets going. Some amazing things will happen. See it in golf. We saw it a couple years ago with the PGA Championship. Phil Mickelson just coming with shot after shot on that back nine, I thought. All right, funny one going forward here. He's got to kind of smooth it around the nine. Otherwise, you'd catch the nine like that maybe and could have turned bad. But
it's at least twice now in this rack that might easily have run out of position, but he's been a little fortunate to retain it. But still work to do here as he looks for a 7-1 lead.
And a little on the fence here. It's kind of an awkward angle to pull the ball, because you do need to put some speed. I mean, you got a natural angle to do it, but it's not the best. So if you need to put a little more speed from distance, could cause a miss. Could roll down the right side of the table if you wanted. Oh, really nice.
He's playing with all the manner of a man who knows he's very much in control of the match.
Yeah, but he started off, I thought, with a nice pace around the table, like a real confident pace. And, you know, we talked about earlier with the juniors how they can sometimes get involved with, you know, absolutely playing the right shot or as best they can. I think some of the pros can as well, and I don't see that here with Ralf. Much more flow.
We've got to stop bigging these players up, because every time we do it today, something like that happens.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he elevated. I thought he could go forward, and even if he had to bump the 8 a little bit, such an open middle of the table. Shouldn't have been a problem.
I think we need a feature called Earl Mic. Anytime he's playing on the TV table again, we've got to get a mic on him. I think having a third commentator.
Yeah, he's not even in an attack here. He's talking about playing safe and watch the 7 hit the side point and sell out. I'll tell you though. Well, got it past the side.
The winner of this match, incidentally, in winners' qualification, will play either Wu Kunlin, World Championship semi-finalist this year, or Raymond Linares of the US, and it's Wu leading 3-1 at the moment.
You look around the room and you see so many players that have come from other, you know, Q sport disciplines, and I think they really overall love the game of 9-ball, especially when the rules and the setup is correct. And I think the game's in the best place ever. Oh, you may get a real big roll here with the 8 and 9. No, the cue ball's going to come clean.
Ralf Souquet had a couple of strokes of fortune earlier on in the rack. It deserted him there. And Strickland has taken these last few balls to get another one on the board. And the cheer goes up. He's won 2 of the last 3 now. It's 6-2. So he's into his 60s now, Jeremy, and as we've said, he doesn't play many tournaments nowadays. Do you have any idea how he does spend his time? Is he involved in coaching or anything like that?
I know he does some of that up here in the Northeast, but he's actually traveled abroad quite a bit this year. He went to the Philippines for some of those matches that they're doing over there. Went to Thailand, maybe some exhibitions and stuff like that. But Earl does a lot of that, still a lot of exhibitions. I think he does a few clinics here and there, and definitely some one-on-ones.
He's one of those guys who, even if you're not particularly into the sport, you know about him. I remember my very first tournament that I ever came to commentate on. I told someone I was going to be doing it, and the first question was, is Earl Strickland going to be playing in it? It's a bit like Ronnie O'Sullivan with snooker. Even people who aren't into the sport, they're familiar with him and who he is. So does he have that big mainstream status in America?
Yeah, definitely people outside the game of pool know who Earl Strickland is, and of course you're sports enthusiasts and whatnot. Maybe not quite as big as some other places just because of everything that goes on in America, but yeah, he's a big name all over the world, that's for sure.
So Dry with his only previous break in this match. Got one down there, but hasn't fallen kindly.
Well, we all know about the Philippines and how much they love their game of pool. And first time I ever went there, this is going to leave a little bit of a jump shot, maybe a kick. But the first time I got off the plane trying to go through customs, and I look up and there's about a 12 or 15 foot poster of Earl right there in the airport in Manila. So, of course, there were a few others too. It had Efren, Bustamante, and Johnny Archer as well.
Earl probably ended up complaining that the poster wasn't big enough.
Yeah, right. Okay, one he should make. Not any real position on the 3, so probably simplifies the jump here. Try not to draw the ball or anything like that. Just knock this in and kind of play from there. Okay, he's opened up that problem, but he's going to get fortunate with the snooker behind the 8. So now Earl, who should jump the ball, I would think would jump at this.
Probably the high point of the match so far for him.
And I wonder if he has enough angle to go up and bump the 5-9. I don't know if it plays in the right side or not.
I talked about him doing exhibitions. No wonder he's in demand for them. The entertainment value he gives all round, audience interaction.
Well, you never know what he's going to say, and you never know what he might pull off on the pool table. So the combination of both those, and and he's pretty witty too, really, if you get to spend any time with him.
The only time I've ever really spent a significant amount of time in his company was at the Premier League earlier in the year. It's that sort of an event. It's all like you're locked in a venue for a week together, so you can't help but get to know people a bit. And he just loves having an audience when he's not playing, sitting in the players' room and having everyone hanging on everything he's saying.
All right. I gotta believe he's setting up for the bank here, not the safety. Maybe he's going behind the 6 now. I don't know if he's going to get there.
Mario He, who's had a lot of very good runs in these big Matchroom events over the last couple of years, struggled early on to gain control of things against Ruben Flores in the first round, but has now won that match by 9 racks to 4. And will take on Pong Nam Pham of Vietnam.
Yeah, Mario He right there in the mix for that European side. I think is he in 5th or 6th?
He's number 5 at the moment. But of course, we've always got to factor in that Eklund Kachi is very much a doubt as to whether or not he'll be fit and able after his recent accident. Although I have been hearing positive things about how his recovery's going, so he may well feature in that European team.
Yeah, I tell you, it'd be interesting. And could be a very difficult, kind of unique decision for the European captain here in probably a month's time.
Yeah, Kachi currently 4th on the European standings.
Yeah, and the way he's played this year, I mean, even if he didn't make it off the rankings, it'd be hard, you know, to pass on him a little bit, in my opinion. But now, you know, if he's not 100%, that makes all the difference in the world. Not sure. We'll see how he's cueing this. Yeah, he's going to cue it with draw. So he's trying to bring the cue ball back below the 9 as the 5 goes towards the upper right, like that. And really a nice shot. I know he surrendered a shot, but trying to get some separation and a little distance.
He's played a couple of very nice shots in this rack now. As I was saying, so often when we have seen him in recent times, he's done things like that and then missed the one you don't expect him to. So still a few hurdles to clear here.
And all I watch is just like a lot of players, but especially like Earl, is how settled is he with the stroke. I think if he's settled, he's going to knock the ball in.
Earl Strickland was 5-0 down in this match, but he's won 3 out of 4 since then. Ralf Souquet's lead is now 6-3. We were talking there about the Philippines and how big the game is in that country. Well, we'll see 2 players from the Philippines in the next match on the main table. Roberto Gomez against Lee Van Corteza. That'll be along after this one.
Yeah, that should be a heck of a match. Lee Van with a little more experience in this U.S. Open type tournament, but Roberto, who seems like a player that stays in form, constantly playing throughout the year.
Alban Ocean has won. He's off and running in this U.S. Open with a 9-2 win over Petri Tamminen of Finland, and will now play American Ray Schultz in the next round.
Yeah, Ray Schultz from Kentucky, player that played on the Pro Tour back when I started in '96. Played all the way to about 2002 or 3.
Do Tae Kien of Vietnam is on the brink of claiming the scalp of the highly rated Canadian John Morra. It's 8-4 in that one. So they're in round 1. In round 2, Badr Alawadi now leading 3-2 in that match we looked in on earlier on table 5 against Nicholas De Leon. Naoki Oi is 3-2 up on Sharik Saeed, Singapore. Chang Young Lin is now on the brink of victory, leading Kevin West 8-2. 6-2 for Niels Fine over Jonas Charlaftis. Back to table 1.
Yeah, dry break there, and again, it's the same. You're going to lose the 1. It's not really that close to the side. So if you're missing the 1 on the side, right, no point in really cut breaking. But the reason why he's missing the 1, again, he's playing more of a stun on the cue ball. So you're going to have a lot of variance on the 1 ball in that side pocket. Kind of an in-between one here. Not easy to draw back and hold for the 2 with this much angle and distance on the 1. Easy for the cue ball to come out towards the 3. The 2 doesn't go to the lower left corner. I think here you got to pocket this, come across. I was about to say, easy to get involved with the cue ball and miss this 1 ball. And Ralf has played great, but he's gotten a few little rolls as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Fair to say, that is registered with Earl Strickland as well. We'll be seeing Chang Yong-lin again tomorrow in winners' qualification. He's just closed it out at 9-2 against Kevin West.
Earl looking at a 3-rail kick between the 6-9. 2 rails he got at it. Really nice hit.
Well, it's far from over this, isn't it? At 5-0, there looked like only one winner, but Strickland has somehow carved his way back into it. Got Souquet in a bit of a situation here. I still believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Ralf kicks this in a separating speed, trying to come 2 rails across the 1, let the cue ball kind of go towards the 9 as the 1 stays on the top end. Could play it if he felt real good with a lighter speed, trying to come 2 rails underneath and maybe use the 5 as a snookering ball. But I like the first selection. A little more speed. Yeah, I like that. He hit it dead full. He was trying to come across it. We'll see. May get a little fortunate again. And I say fortunate, that's a bad way to look at it. It's just part of the game is what it is. When you make good hits, you're not always going to leave shots. I wouldn't say it's lucky. It's probably a bad way to word it. It's a little light. He may leave the top side of the 1 a little bit. It just depends on how much of the 1 he can get at. He can get at it full enough to bank the 1 across between the 6-7, lay it down on the left long rail and bring the cue ball up to the top rail. Not sure if he can get at enough of the 1. I think he can. Yeah, just like that. Earl a little upset at a fan, it seems like, for clapping after that shot. And I see the problem with that myself, but
I know people smile and laugh about all this, but there's got to be a limit to it. I mean, it is the US Open. Ralf Souquet's out there trying to win the match. Does he really need to see his opponent doing this all the time?
yeah, it's... Uh-oh, it's going to get a fluke. No, I mean, I think if it was, Earl was at every event, I think things may change. Not saying that makes it right or wrong, but he is he's somewhat mild, Michael. It's not as animated as we've seen him before.
Well, I can say that again. Been involved in some pretty unpleasant moments, it has to be said, in big events over the years, particularly, say, around 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, I mean, it looks like a landslide, but if you look at the closest score we could have after 9 games, that would be 5-4 for one of those opponents. So we're just a game off of that. Certainly the winter break format, you can make them up quickly. Kind of like Neil Spain's match at the moment. Neil seems like he's just been in control, and I think he'll go on ahead to keep some control and win that, but can't make any big mistakes.
Yeah, it's 6-3 in that match as well, in favour of Feijen, the Dutchman, against Jonas Charlaftis. to get down and hit that remarkably quickly and needed a bit of consideration.
Yeah, and it was kind of like when that kind of thing happens, it's almost kind of like, I hate to say it, but a little bit like feel sorry for me a little bit, Used to do, when we used to play alternate break format in some tournaments, and players would get down 5-1 in a race to 9 or 6-1, and we had just started playing the alternate break. So in their mind, the match was over, because they couldn't come back. And of course, I never thought that way, but you'd see players just get down and kind of hit at the balls, and before you know it, a few things would bang around the right way, and they'd be right back in the match. But I never understood that mentality, being when you're down, and how did the player get the 5-1 lead to begin with? An alternate break, same way you could come back. All right, he's got to draw this in a little gap. I don't think he can draw it on a straight line, so probably between the 6-9 here, maybe to the right of the pink 4. Oh, he's a little high on this. Okay, the right spin really dove nicely there. He missed his mark there a little bit, not badly, and he overcut the 4 to the pocket, so you feel like the cue ball should be in position a little better. And now he's got to move the cue ball a bit more from the 6 to the 7. Oh, he's got to kill it. Okay.
Well, it's all very well complaining about the roll of the balls and the luck and the bits of good and bad fortune. You can't really complain too much when you get down and play a shot as carelessly as Strickland did in this rack, and ultimately that may well be what ends up bringing an end to his recovery in this match. He'd won 3 of the last 4, was back to 6-3, and he still had a chance to win. Of course, at 7-3 he still theoretically does, but it's been his own undoing in this rack, it seems.
And overall, you just don't see Ralf the way he's played. That 1-7 ball on the side, when he elevated the cue, that was the big mishap for him in this match. But overall, it's been pretty solid. And breaking the balls very nicely, and has come with most of the tough shots.
And he's within sight of the finish line now. Ralf Souquet leads Earl Strickland by 7 racks to 3 and only needs 2 more. One match still going in round 1. Daniel Guttenberger of Austria on the hill at 8-5 against the British player David Hopkin. So all the focus gradually shifting over to round 2, where Badr Alawadi now leads Nicolas de Leon 4-3. Billy Thorpe, after his great comeback earlier, just starting against Karl Nadeberg of Estonia. Mayuki Oi 5-2 up now against Sharik Saeed. Victor Zielinski has won the first couple of racks against Marcos Sanz Martin. Kim Laxonen has a 5-3 lead over former World Masters finalist Loho Sun. Pius Labuta, semi-finalist in Spain earlier this summer, has won the first against Jesus Atencio. And this is the match we were talking about. Niels Feijen, former world champion, the only 4-time Mosconi Cup MVP in history, leading 6-3 against Jonas Charlaptis. A match that Feijen looked to be very much in control of, and still is to some degree. But the gap has been closed a bit.
He just fluked the 1, trying to play safe off the 1 ball. I think he got himself in position on the blue 2. Now back to table number 1 and the Kaiser. I guess at this point you got to say European's greatest ever on the 9-ball stage.
Needless to say, there are matches going on the losers' side as well. And Sam Henderson, American player, I believe you were bigging up earlier, on the hill at 7-2 against James Davey, fellow American.
And James, a good player from the upper Northwest. Really kind of surprise you, kind of fool you the way he gets around, just seems to get out. But Sam, I tell you, 16 maybe, 17 years old. Might be 18 now, I don't know, time flies, but he's, uh-oh, I may have accidentally made this. This ball's going to continue to track. Looks like he can go between the 2 and the pink 4. Kick in behind this. Try and move it up table as best you can, holding the cue ball right there in position where the 1's at. Don't like the soft kick trying to come underneath it, even though the 6 kind of has the side rail covered up. The 2 and 4 are the same, but still easy to let that leak out, maybe give up a shot to the upper left corner or the left middle. I like to kick and try and stick the ball with some speed here. Yeah, just like that. Make Earl come with some distance, even if he has a shot. Very well played. How's that for 64, Michael?
Well, be kind to him. He's old enough without you adding another couple of years.
Oh, he's 62.
He's a mere
excuse me.
62,
Yeah, 62. Yeah. I should have known that. Anyways.
Not quite time to break out that Beatles song just yet.
Yeah, well, I knew he was 10 years older than I was, so. But still, even 62. I mean, of course, he's one of the greatest ever to, elevate the back end of the cue off the rail. He always was known for that. And I think that's one of the reasons why you see Shane, when he practices so many of those power shots from the end rail. I think that comes from the great Pearl, Earl Strickland. So you should use the 2 short rails here, just straight up and down the table. Easy ball to want to overcut a little bit at times, just to help the cue ball. Hit it nice. Didn't even use the second rail. Probably killed the cue ball a little more than he expected.
Stage of this match, like I've said, there's a very good chance of a whitewash. Strickland wasn't getting into it at all. Souquet had golden break, a couple of other break and runs, but the American is hanging on and hanging on. And he's still punching in this match. It's 7-4. Billy Thorpe has won the opener against Carl Nadeberg. Mayuki Oi now 5-2 up on Sharik Saeed. We saw Duan Kwok Hwang on the main table earlier today. Played well to beat Joey Tate, but he's 3-1 down against Lu Ri Teng. Badr Alawadi and Nicholas De Leon still involved in a great tussle. That one's 4-all. 3-all between Wu Kunlin and Raymond Linares. Winner of that match plays the winner of this one. Niels Fine has now gone 7-3 against Jonas Charlaftis. And Daniel Guttenberger still looking for one more to be the last player to advance from round 1. Leads David Hopkin 8-5. You can see Joey Tate there actually 2-1 down in his match on the loser's side.
Yeah, we're going to get to see Earl break again. And if he goes for the cut break, like I said, with a normal kind of, stunning ball. Oh, he's made the one. Little action on the 9. So maybe he's figured a little something out there. Maybe cutting the one a little thinner.
Should mention Fedor Gorst as well, one of the favourites for this title. Underway now against Payne McBride in this round. Gorst has taken the first rack there.
Yeah, another very good young player from America who's just like a lot of them started to blossom more and more with the JIC and the junior tour they have now for the kids to compete throughout the country and throughout the year. Good hit. Oh, he's going to get some separation and a little cover with the pink 4. We'll see what Ralph decides now. He's got a 5-9 that is very difficult. It does bank cross corner by the 6, so when you're thinking about certain types of kick shots, when you have something that's difficult for your opponent, you can think a little more options. Now, if he kicks to the side rail there, he's kicking towards a really open part of the table. The 3 in the cue ball will go towards, below the black, and I kind of like kicking to the short rail myself. I'm coming straight at the 3. I know he's got to put a hair of spin on that. Just come between the 4-8, maybe with a hair of left English. But I think you're kicking the 3 towards congestion when you come up from this bottom rail, and I think that gives you a lot of chances of getting safe.
You can see there so many of today's crowd on this second day in Atlantic City have gathered around this table, and for a lot of them, it's something they'll always like to mention in years to come if they've not done it before. I saw Ralf Souquet play, or I saw Earl Strickland play.
Really good hit. It's going to catch a little spin on it. I think the pink 4 may return the favor for him like it did Earl. As they always say, it pays to hit him, Michael. And always a unique setup to where the first few days the spectators can roam around to many different tables and see so much. And as we get into the single elimination stage, they'll start to rework the arena and set up, of course, for our main event towards the end of the week. Just a medium speed here. May have fluked it. And he got an angle to go into the 5-9.
Well, we can see a replay. Of course, it just underlines, doesn't it, when he gets a bit of bad luck, he acts like it never goes the other way. Well, it certainly did there. What's he done here?
He wanted to set up for the bank or the safety. He's overhit it, so he's just going to have to chip this, put the 5 below the 6, and try and get the snooker. Pretty big error there, though.
He's fine, firmly re-establishing control on table 2. He's about to pop the 9 to get to the hill at 8-3 against Ioannis Charlaftis. Yep, he's absolutely hammered that 9 ball in.
I'll tell you, I've always talked about Niels, and he'll hammer the 9 in, and I think I still feel one day it's going to cost him hitting that ball a little hard. Saw a couple at the Whirlpool Masters when he made that run this year. Didn't quite hit the pocket how he wanted. Can he put the cue ball underneath the 9 here? Coming off the purple. Doesn't look easy, but because the green 6 kind of hampering the movement of the purple. Oh, he caught a double kiss. Don't know if Earl can really run out from here, though. The angle may not offer it. Maybe he can go into the 6 here. Oh, he could get right by it.
Big moments in this match now. Probably the biggest we've seen so far. If Strickland can finish this off here, get back to 7-5, well, then it really is wide open. Last time there were only a couple of racks in, it was all the way back at 2-0. So Strickland has now won 5 of the last 7 racks. He can definitely still win this match. He's back to 7-5. David Hopkin is still hanging on, the British player, in the last match of the first round. He's won the 14th rack to close to 8-6 behind against the Austrian Daniel Guttenberger. In round 2, 3-all between Raymond Linares and Wu Kunlin. They're playing for the right to meet the winner of this. Nicolas de Leon with his nose just in front over Badr Alawadi at 5-4. 1-all between Billy Thorpe and Karl Nadeberg. Ryuki Oi needs just a couple more racks. 7-2, he leads Sharik Saeed. And Victor Zielinski has been pegged back to 2-all in his match. That's against Marcos Sans Martin. Kim Laaksonen of Finland could be about to claim a notable win. 7-3 ahead of Loho Sum, who was in the final of the World Masters last year.
Well, he finally got a ball down on his last break, so see if he can take a little bit from that, keep it going.
He'll take that.
Yeah, really the one ball, the toughest shot for the first few. Natural position on the blue 2, the 3 and 4 near. A little awkward 5-9, whether it be a kiss shot on the 5 into the 9 or a combination. I wonder if he's going to roll this, maybe bump the 4. I don't think drawing's really the ticket. Yeah, you overcut it, you knew it, but he did accept it, and now he's got to make a decision on the purple. Looks like the kiss shot's pretty easy overall. Yeah, he may have ended up a little short. Yeah, he wanted to get another 5 inches. And that's the thing, if he goes 4 or 5 inches, he can go another foot and be okay. So short was the real problem.
Could this be his first break and run of the entire match? And for so much of this contest, most of it really, the outcome had a certain look of inevitability about it. Far from that now, because having been 5-0 down, Earl Strickland now trails by only 1. Ralf Souquet's advantage is now 7-6. So that was such a short rack, I'm not sure anything much has changed in the other matches. That said, Nicolas de Leon has gone 2 clear now with Badr Alawadi, what's been a very close one all the way. De Leon 6-4 up. Honasuto Camino has won the first couple of racks against his American opponent, Daniel Charlo. Victor Zielinski edging ahead of Marcos Sans Martin, winning the 5th rack to go 3-2 up. Niels Fyen has just finished it actually against Jonas Charlaftis. So the very likeable Dutchman has won there by 9 racks to 3. That is the setting on day 2 here in Harrah's in Atlantic City, home to the US Open for the 3rd year in a row. It was always played in Virginia from its inaugural staging in 1976 until it moved to Las Vegas for one time only in 2019. Missed it in 20 because of COVID, and we've been here ever since.
Earl's getting a lot of action on the 9. I wonder, as this match tightens up and nears that finish line, if we may have some type of golden break involved.
Strickland has broken 6 times in this match now. 3 of them have come up dry.
Yeah, a little awkward on the safety here. The bank does go by the purple, it looks like. So looks like he's going to edge this and try and use the purple as the snookering ball. Looks pretty good. I think the pink may have cut him off on the left edge of the one, and the purple definitely the right edge. Could kick softly here. Hard to judge, though, so I like easy to foul. Oh, he hit it nicely. Still going to be hemmed up here in a moment, but a good hit. I don't think you have to do much here. Just, you don't have to, you know, kind of wedge him either. You just kind of get the one down a little bit and come across. Don't know if he cut off that same rail the one just bounced off of. I think he has. He's cut off the opposite right long rail. So very good here. And now he's got Earl kind of having to curve the ball at more or less about a third of the one ball. So. Yeah, I think he's got to do what he was looking at originally. He can't tie anything up and surrender ball in hand. It's got to be to the bottom rail. Yeah, just like this with a little left English. He's got to aim away, though, and kind of bend the ball back with the spin. Otherwise, he's looking at moving the purple into position somewhere and just, like I said, giving up ball in hand. But where do you move the purple? I mean, this is Ralf Souquet you're playing. Oh, he's trying to tie it up. Good effort. Wasn't easy.
That big cheer we heard there, I don't think that was actually from one of the matches. I think that was Alex Pagulayan doing something on one of the practice tables.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
You talk about people who never stop talking. You were mentioning Earl earlier. I think Alex probably even more so.
Yeah, Alex has got a lot of energy. He always has. And a great guy for our sport. Hall of Famer.
He was the opponent, as I mentioned earlier, when Souquet won his one and only US Open title 21 years ago.
And I think after he lost that final, was it 05 he went back to win, or 06 maybe? 05?
05, I think.
Yeah. Well, I was 03. Gabe Owen was 04. I think Alex was 05, I think. Little off angle here, going away from the pink, but good thing for Ralf. I mean, you don't want to, of course, but the 5 does play by the 8, so just in case you get a little funny on the pink, you can have a few options on the purple 5. Now he wants to go one rail between the 8 and 9 here, back out to the center, just like that.
Just to keep you up to date, I mentioned Roberto Gomez and Levan Corteza in an all-Philippines clash next up on table 1. Well, next on table 2, just about to start, it's 2 British players squaring up, Chris Melling and Chris Alexander.
Uh-oh, better say something to it. Wow. And that's kind of why I said that, you know, there's that option of going forward here if you felt like you know, there was going to be any issue coming backwards with the cue ball, and of course he didn't foresee that, but he did get him, and now Earl's, he's playing safe here because of the 7-8. Well, it turned out extra special nice with the 9 kind of covering up a big portion of the 5, but hard to argue that play.
So one thing about Strickland, see a lot of players as they get older in different cue sports, they slow down a bit. And when he's not complaining about something or chatting to the crowd, Strickland actually really gets on with it.
Yeah, and he's, you know, hard person to really copy because he's one of the few that see the table real quickly. I mean, not one of the few, but, you know, extra special seeing the table quickly. And because when he was playing, he really made mental errors, even though he played pretty fast. Of course, when you spend so much time on the table like he used to, and I'm sure he still does. Okay. Kind of like the slow roll kick here to keep the accuracy. You got the 7-8 there that can do a lot of things for you. And I don't mean real slow, but kind of not bad. Good hit. Earl's going to have to either take on a tough cut or really work the cue ball here. But again, exactly what I was talking about earlier. Like, how tough of a shot was that, right? Real tough shot. But you see how calm the stroke was, moving the ball up and down the table? And that's all he has to really do to remind himself of that. He can still play top flight pool.
This match started with Ralf Souquet potting 2 balls off his opening break and running out the first rack from there. He's been ahead ever since then, until now, because Earl Strickland has now won 7 of the last 9 racks. He's level at 7-all in this absorbing US Open clash. Okay, so let's get our breath for a moment. I can tell you that one remaining first round match is still going. Daniel Guttenberger 8-6 up on David Hopkin. Wu Kun Lin just ahead of Raymond Linares at 4-3 in round 2. Nicolas de Leon is putting in a late spurt as he looks to run to the line. 7-4 now over Badr Alawadi. Fedor Gorst 2-1 up on Payne McBride of the US. Naoki Oi looking for one more. Leads Sharik Saeed 8-2. Victor Zielinski now 4-2 in front of Marcos Sanz Martin. And Kim Laaksonen from Finland, a country that always seems to be producing good players, leading Lo Ho Sum of Hong Kong 8-3.
Yeah, I talked about it yesterday. Naoki Oi, who had made so many good runs, so many big events, and then had a little dry spell, but here in the last few months, of course, did pretty well in Spain, but looks like he's got his game back.
Well, this didn't look very likely at all that we'd even still be playing this match about 3/4 of an hour ago. But here we are, 7-all.
Yeah, another try when it appears anyways.
Just to say, when this one is over, we will look in on Chris Melling and Chris Alexander for a few minutes before we go straight into Gomez versus Corteza.
Yeah, Chris Melling, always one of the fan favorites. Seems like you're going to learn a shot or see a shot you hadn't ever seen, or one you may only see a couple times in your lifetime. Seems like it's every match with Chris Melling. He's rolling this ball. It's not easy going into the 8 with the cue ball. It's going to come clean and take a bit of a problem away with the 7-8. So huge shot there at a big moment for Ralf Souquet.
Yeah, and impressive to play that under pressure, given the way the match has turned around. It's 5-0 up, absolutely dominant. Strickland couldn't get a foothold at all.
Yeah, and, you know, you could look at it a little bit fortunate that the cue ball came away in that good of a position, but I think very deserving. And the way he shot it, there was never going to be a major problem. And the emphasis was always pocketing the one. So, all right, little draw stroke. Speed control, little important, but not that important. The 5 very playable on the side after he knocks out the pink 4.
First round of this US Open began at 10 o'clock on Monday morning, and at around 2:30 on Tuesday afternoon, it's finally been completed with victory for Daniel Guttenberger, 9-6 over David Hopkin. Guttenberger will now play a former winner of this tournament, Darren Appleton, in the next round.
And he's keeping up with scores in Connecticut. And then Guttenberger really put on a good display, beating Schuyler in the first round. And then Billy, or vice versa it was. Beat both of them in the first couple rounds and lost the match, and then won some nice ones on the one-loss side as well. So Darren Appleton, of course, trying to get back in form after some serious health things last year, but good to see him out and playing, but no easy one for Daz.
He's keeping busy this week. I think he's got his own equipment business now, and he's got a stall outside. I saw him earlier on. He just played his match. He went straight back out to man the stall again. Anyway, back here, Ralf Souquet is setting out his stall in his bid to regain the lead here.
Yeah, and a really nice out under pressure. Started with a very difficult one. You know, when the pressure's on, hitting the ball light and thin is like one of the last ones that you really are in love with. But he made it look easy, and the rest has been on point.
Nothing quite like the pressure that comes with seeing a match that you were so much in control of, and that you were favourite to win anyway, potentially slipping away from you. So Souquet has responded well here. Barring a very unexpected miss here on the 9, he will be first to the hill. From 7-3 down, Earl Strickland won 4 racks in a row to level the match. But a dry break has cost him there. Ralf Souquet, 1 away from victory. It's 8-7. Wu Kunlin, current favourite to face the winner of this because he's now 5-3 up on Raymond Linares. Nicolas de Leon, 7-5 ahead of Badr Al-Awadi. Carl Nadeberg has opened a 3-1 lead over Billy Thorpe. I think Naoki Oi was on the hill the last time we mentioned that match against Sharik Saeed. And he's off the hill now. He's won 9-2. Honus Suto Camino 4-1 up on Daniel Charlo of the US. Liu Riteng has a 4-2 lead over Duan Huang, who we saw winning on the main table earlier today. Victor Zielinski starting to pull away at 5-2 against Marcos Sanz Martin. Kim Laxonen still looking for one more, 8-4 up on Lo Ho Sum. Spanish Open semi-finalist Pius Labutus has a 4-3 lead over Jesus Atencio. So is Earl Strickland going to get one more chance to have a say in this match? Ralf Souquet has it all in his hands at the moment. He's breaking on the hill.
Yeah, don't hear anything down, nothing heading towards the pocket, so Earl definitely has a chance now. Difficult 2-ball that we're looking at, and a lot of traffic to work off this 1-ball to get to somewhere on the blue 2. The 7's a little on the way. The pink is a little funny there. Oh, he got between both of them. Is it going to be enough speed, though? Are we going to see a 2-9? May rifle this in and go upstairs with the cue ball.
And it's a winning combination, so a very swift 16th rack. The 2-9 combo, coolly delivered by Earl Strickland. We're going all the way in this clash of the legends. It's 8-all. Got to look at this again. Tell us about this shot, Jeremy.
Yeah, it was sweet, and he saw it right from the start, and he's not going to back down. He's played pretty aggressive the entire match. A few safeties got him back in it, in my opinion, right in the middle, but overall, Earl's swinging.
And he's absolutely loving it. You know, in any sport, if you've got one of the greats still playing, you've got a chance to go and watch them, but you get added value if you come to have the experience of watching Earl Strickland play. You get to have a chat with one of the greats of the game.
Yeah, it's always been something unique to our sport. You can get, next to the greatest, but Earl, it's even more, above and beyond.
And whatever else might be said about him over the years, he's always been willing to just speak to everybody as an equal. He'll chat to anybody in any situation and not feel that he's too big for anything.
Yeah, and the one thing about Earl is, none of us are always correct, but he's always trying to be genuine. It may be off a little bit, like we all can be, but just like anything else. This has been the one that has held him back a little bit, and it's going to hold him back again. It's in Ralph's hands. And really the first couple shots, when nerves are high, those are the ones that can get any of us, especially in a hill situation. But, man, this 1-2, pretty easy. And normally when a guy like Ralf gets in line with the cue ball, even when the nerves are high, he can usually handle it.
Just a thought here. This might be, in fact, you would say more likely than not it will be, the last rack these ever play against each other in a big tournament. Yeah,
I mean, every one of them, right? That you look at like this could very easily be the last one. Is it coming out for the 2 in the same corner? Oh, it went by the 8. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Because he needs to just get up on the 3 in the side, and everything kind of opens up. Now the 4 to the 5 is some work. I'm not so sure the 5 passes the 7 all the way up in the top right. So with the 9 being there, it's not going to be easy. I'll tell you what, though, either way, whoever wins, hats off to both of them. It hasn't been, we talked about the juniors all morning, right? That's what started off day 2. But it hasn't been, just stumbling across the line on these racks for these two players. They both played pretty darn well. This is the shot I was talking about. See, the 9 being near that spot, that's why it's such an important place for the 9, because it really makes a lot of hard situations to move the cue ball. If the 9's not there, it's real easy to come across from the 4 to the 5.
Ralf Souquet led 5-0. He led 7-3. At times like that, he would never have imagined he'd still be here playing a deciding rack. But now that he is, he'll be grateful to have it in his own hands.
Yeah, the perfect angle here would be a very slight angle, but that's going to be a big stretch. That's what he's trying to play for. That's correct, so he can draw above the side. Now the thing here, right, is the side pocket's the one that you're worried about. So easy to maybe get a little extra in there and maybe get cueing over the 7 somewhat with the cue ball when attacking on the 5. You can see he added the extension because it is a pretty big stretch for the Hall of Famer. Oh, he's going forward, so he's trying to come 2 rails between the 9 and 5. Oh yeah, real nice.
There are now 5 of these big Matchroom Open events with fields of 256 players. This is the 4th of them this year. If Souquet can pop these few remaining balls, he'll be 1 win away from completing a perfect set so far. He's been to single elimination this year in the UK Open, the Spanish Open, the European Open. And potentially in a few minutes, 1 win away from getting there again in the US Open.
I'll tell you, Earl isn't going to want to think about it after this if Ralf gets out, but not sure who's in his corner over there. Saw him walking with a few different groups of people, and I'll tell you, if he just went over and worked on the break a little bit, he's hitting the ball real well. He could definitely make this final 64, and who knows from there. Okay, could roll it, coming just one rail towards the 8 with the cue ball.
You know, we were talking earlier about some of the incidents Strickland's been involved in over the years. I remember he had a row with referee Michaela Tabb at the World Championship one year. And he was playing against Steve Davis. And he felt so bad about it. And he came back into the arena for his next match. He brought Michaela a bunch of flowers to try and make amends for what had gone on the previous day. But on this occasion, it's a bouquet for Souquet, because Ralf has won a clash of the greats, the legends, and a wonderful moment to finish. Nice words being exchanged between them. Ralf Souquet has held on in the face of a really spirited fight back from Earl Strickland. It may be the last time we ever see these two play each other. If it is, they've left us with more memories to take away. Ralf Souquet the winner by 9 racks to 8.